Welcome back to our science class. For the previous video presentation that you have watched, you've learned about the differences between DNA and RNA and the protein making synthesis. So you're able to construct DNA replication or transcription and translation. So this time, we are going to learn about mutation. So we will explain how mutation can cause changes in the structure and function of a protein. So unsay major effect ani sa tuang body or sa usa ka organisms if there is a mutation. But what is mutation? So mutation are changes made to an organism's genetic material. So these changes probably made due to error in replication, or error during transcription, or another several factor or reasons why there is mutation, maybe because of the environmental factors such as exposing in radiation, or you are exposing in a different harmful chemical substance, or even in a cigarette smoking, viruses, and many other things. Okay, so mutation has classification. We have point mutation and chromosomal mutation. So point mutation means a large category of mutation that describe a change in single nucleotide of DNA that causes the DNA to be different from normal type gene sequence. Okay, so probably it is possible that a nucleotide is switched for another nucleotide, or inserting a wrong base, or there is a deletion during the sequence. In point mutation, there are three types. We have insertion, deletion, and substitution. When you say insertion, when an extra base pair is added to the sequence of bases. Okay, so just like what the term implies, na ay insert. Example, I am showing you a normal DNA sequence, dyan siya, and the other one shows a DNA sequence that is insertion mutation. So what you have noticed here, the normal sequence would be CEP instead. But kay ni-insert man sa cytosine, what will happen is na ay insertion nga occur. So even though nga na ay mga insertion nga nahitabo, it will still create a major or big impact for the organisms or even in our body. And one of the diseases that caused by insertion is what we have, the beta thalassemia. So beta thalassemia is a blood disorder that reduces the production of hemoglobin. So mo na siya, no, one mistake of base pair, mo na siya may tabo sa imong red blood cells. So naa kay blood disorders. Another type of point mutation is what we have, the deletion. So deletion means when an extra base pair is deleted from a sequence. Okay, so for example, okay, comparing the normal DNA sequence a while ago that I have showed, in deletion part, nakita na to nga, as what you have noticed here, nawala si adenine. Kaya since nawala man si adenine, nawala po si uracil. So, in this part, nasibog siya. Diba? So, nakita ara? Okay, so naa siya deletion nga nahitabo in this sequence. And there are some diseases that is caused by deletion, of course. What we have here is the cystic fibrosis. So kung may ingon kang cystic fibrosis, it is a heredity disease that affects the lungs and digestive system. Okay, so you've seen on the picture, the body produces thick and sticky mucus that can clog the lungs and obstruct the pancreas. So mo na siya. And we have another type of point mutation, which is substitution. Substitution, when the nitrogen bases are switched or swapped for different ones. So example, so from the normal DNA sequence, a swap of base or nitrogen bases here Okay, let's check. Instead of CTT, okay, so the C here or the cytosine was being swapped into thymine. So since thymine naman siya nausab iyang mRNA sequence, so the thymine will always be paired with the adenine. Okay, so even di ay nga one letter lang ang maswap diri sa DNA sequence, kuan din siya ma-affect yun ang amino acids, no? So if ma-affect or mausab ang amino acids during the translation or during the DNA sequence or sequencing or making the protein, probably naapo siya dako nga effects sa ato ang body. So for example, one of the diseases that caused by substitution mutation is kanang sickle cell anemia. Alright? So mao na siya ang sa point mutation. Let's proceed to the chromosomal mutation. So chromosomal mutation involve changes in the number or structure of chromosomes. It could also change the location of genes on chromosomes and may even change the number of copies of some genes. Okay, so katong gidiscuss na to ganiya sa point mutation, small portion lang to siya ani sa chromosomal mutation. Okay, so in chromosomal mutation, natay different types. We have the duplication, deletion, inversion, and translocation. Kung may duplication means nag-duplicate ka or produce extra copy of part of a chromosomes. Deletion means loss all or part of the chromosome. When you say inversion, meaning ang direction will reverse of some part of the chromosomes. And the translocation means when part of one chromosomes break off, it attaches to another. So this type of chromosomal mutation will lead into different genetic disorder. So ang igo kaayo aning effect would be the offspring or those baby, no? So naay mga genetic disorder for this different type of chromosomal mutation. So when you say genetic disorder, it can caused by an abnormality in the genetic makeup of an individual, and it could be caused by even a single-base mutation or of course a chromosomal mutation or abnormality. I will let you show an example. So let's begin with the Cri-du-Chat syndrome. So Cri-du-Chat syndrome affected individual, mostly mga baby, no, offspring. They have distinctive facial features including widely set eyes, no, medyo kanang layo ilahang portion sa ilahang mata. It could be have low set ears or gamay iyang jaw, and it could be a rounded face. So for example, kani siya nga image, no? So we call that one as cat eye. Okay, another syndrome or genetic disorder is what we have the we call that one as a Down syndrome. So it's very common. So it's a condition that is associated with intellectual disability, a characteristic facial appearance, and weak muscle tone in infancy. So mo ni siya effect or genetic disorder from the chromosomal mutation. And we have Edwards syndrome. So Edwards syndrome is a chromosomal condition associated with abnormalities in many parts of the body. So probably it will have often slow growth before birth, or it could have a low birth weight. So you see the image here. So mani siya ang Edward syndrome. So actually, in order for us to determine, especially sa mga mama, like if ang mama manganak, so the doctor will immediately check or will do some screening or what we call the newborn screening to check if naabay abnormalities ang usa ka baby in order to prevent that one nga mas mo grabe pa in the future. Okay, so maana siya ang different classification of mutation. Question: are mutation always bad? Is it yes or no? Actually, mutation can be also beneficial. So not all the time mutation are always bad. So there are mutation that are neutral. So it means that it can cause little or no damage to the genes or protein. So swerte lang, di ba? Especially to the offspring. But of course, almost or some or few mutation can cause dramatic changes that are very harmful and sometimes deadly, like cancers, no, and other type of diseases. And also we have probably we call that one as favorable mutation. So kung maingon tag favorable mutation, it means that a source of genetic could allow species adapt or in order to survive or thrive in a specific environment. So for example, about the COVID-19 virus. So I think all of us are familiar with this. Diba? So the COVID-19 has different variant. And this variant, dili siya favorable or benefit sa atua since kita man ang magka-infection. Pero, these variants favorable siya sa COVID-19 because they can be able to survive or thrive or probably adapt in the environment. So, monation, they have to find ways in order for them to mutate para makasurvive. Okay, so mona siya. But another example of kanang significance of mutation is kanang when we have or being lactose intolerance or lactose tolerance. So kung maingon gani kag lactose intolerance, it means that can't digest lactose. Actually, most of us or lactose intolerance. Pero there is a genetic mutation where the cytosine in a human body or in our body is replaced with thymine, which allows them to digest milk. So mo nang not all of us can experience being lactose intolerance. So mo na siya ang mga significance of mutations. So, I hope nakuha na no ang or na-explain na nato ang atong discussion regarding. Okay. So, this time, as I have mentioned this one, it was already discussed last time sa previous video presentation. So, for your performance task, which the deadline is February 3, 2022, as I have said, you may refer this on your book, page 197, under What Really Matters. You are going to conduct or, yes, to do some research about genetic disorder detected by newborn screening. And try, or probably you have to write an article explaining the importance of performing such a screening that is related to our topic today. Okay? So, do not forget to write your full name and section. Missing information will not be recorded. So, question, where we gonna submit this one? Alright, so the same gihapon, you have 3 options to choose where to submit. It could be Gmail via message, FB Messenger, Gmail of your science teacher, or kung wala na yun, you can do or send your output through via text. And of course, just refer this email address of your science teacher for Madam Abanto and for me as well. Okay, so if you have any clarification regarding your performance task, you may contact or reach out your science teacher via Facebook Messenger. Alright, learners, I hope that you've learned something about mutation. So I'll see you next time, and of course, take care of yourself.